At the age of 86, Michael Learned finally allowed herself to speak a truth she had protected for more than 5 decades. It was not an impulsive confession, nor an attempt to rewrite history, but a quiet act of emotional release after a lifetime of restraint. She admitted that if Ralph Waite had been free, if timing, duty, and circumstance had not stood between them, her heart might not have carried such a lingering ache for so many years. That single reflection unlocked an entire hidden history, one that audiences had sensed but never fully understood. Viewers of the Waltons saw warmth, stability, and devotion, but beneath the surface lived emotions shaped by discipline, sacrifice, and unspoken longing. What unfolded between Michael Learned and Ralph Waite was not a love story in the traditional sense, but a deeply human connection shaped by moral boundaries and emotional survival. Their story began in 1972, inside a modest audition room that seemed ordinary to everyone except the 2 people who would walk out of it forever changed. Michael Learned arrived exhausted, emotionally worn down by a painful separation and the uncertainty of her future. She needed the role not for fame, but for stability and purpose. When Ralph Waite entered the room, there was no theatrical grandeur in his presence. Instead, there was something grounding and sincere, a calm strength that immediately disarmed her. Michael later recalled that she froze, unable to speak, because she instinctively recognized him, not as an actor, but as John Walton himself. The connection between them was instant and undeniable. Even before the cameras rolled, something meaningful had already formed, quiet yet powerful, and impossible to ignore. From the first moments they read together, it became clear that what flowed between them was not simply professional chemistry. Their dialogue moved naturally, their silences spoke volumes, and their glances carried an emotional weight that could not be rehearsed. The director, accustomed to difficult auditions and guarded performances, reportedly paused in stunned silence, recognizing that something rare was unfolding. Yet even as this bond took shape, reality imposed its limits. Ralph was married, deeply committed to his responsibilities, and Michael was emotionally fragile, trying to rebuild her life. They both understood the unspoken truth: the connection had arrived at precisely the wrong time. Rather than acting on it, they chose restraint, allowing their feelings to exist only within the narrow space that morality permitted. That restraint expressed itself through subtle, deeply personal gestures that no one else noticed. Each morning, Michael found a warm cup of coffee waiting in her dressing room, prepared exactly the way she liked it. She never asked who left it, because she already knew. For years, Ralph ensured that she never started a day alone. After long filming hours, he would quietly wait, offering her company during simple dinners, not romantic evenings but moments of shared humanity where she did not have to face her loneliness in silence. Ralph never crossed boundaries, yet he remained present in ways that mattered. His care was steady, respectful, and deeply personal, reflecting a devotion that could never be publicly acknowledged. One evening, the emotional pressure finally reached a breaking point. Overwhelmed by the strain of her personal life, Michael collapsed on set, sobbing uncontrollably. Ralph approached her without hesitation or spectacle. He placed a hand on her shoulder and gently held her, offering a moment of complete safety. In that embrace, all the rules seemed to fade. Then he spoke softly, saying, "Olivia will be all right, and so will you." Though he used her character's name, the message was unmistakably meant for her. For Michael, it was the moment she nearly surrendered to her feelings. Yet Ralph, with visible effort, stepped away, choosing responsibility over desire. That single act defined the nature of their bond, deeply felt, painfully restrained, and preserved through self-discipline. Behind the scenes, an even heavier truth bound them together. Both Michael Learned and Ralph Waite were quietly struggling with alcoholism, a reality completely hidden from the public and largely unknown to their colleagues. They recognized the signs in each other because they shared the same battle: the trembling hands, the exhaustion, the quiet fear of losing control. They never discussed it openly, but their awareness was mutual and deeply intimate. When Ralph briefly disappeared from the set, he told no one the reason. He had gone to seek treatment, choosing recovery in solitude. When he returned, calmer and steadier, he handed Michael a worn Bible without a word. There was no message written inside, because none was needed. She understood immediately. It was an invitation to survive. From that point forward, Ralph became Michael's silent protector. Each morning, he stood quietly outside her dressing room for a few minutes, ensuring she had made it through the most difficult hours of the day. He never intruded, never monitored. His presence alone was enough. Michael later admitted that she felt accountable only to him. When she nearly relapsed one night, standing alone with a bottle in her hands, Ralph appeared and spoke one firm sentence: "If you fall, I will fall too." Those words stopped her. It was not romance that saved her, but responsibility, the knowledge that her choices affected someone who truly understood her pain. Their remarkable on-screen chemistry was born not from harmony, but from contrast. Ralph was intense, emotional, and uncompromising, fire in human form. Michael was reflective, gentle, and perceptive, calming water. Their differences often clashed, even with the script. On one occasion, Ralph angrily rejected dialogue he felt betrayed the truth of his character, slamming the script down and walking off set. It was Michael who brought him back, not by confronting his anger, but by acknowledging his feelings and inviting partnership. When real tension spilled into a dramatic argument scene, the raw emotion created one of the show's most unforgettable moments. Michael later said that honesty, not affection, was the source of their power. In quieter moments, they protected one another with profound sensitivity. Ralph would subtly adjust props so that the light favored Michael's face, ensuring she looked her best on screen. Michael, in turn, recognized when Ralph's grief over the loss of his daughter overwhelmed him. During emotional scenes, she would subtly reposition herself to shield his face from the camera, giving him time to regain control. These acts were never discussed. They were instinctive, born from trust and deep understanding. Even Ralph's occasional jealousy when Michael dated others remained unspoken, carefully contained within the boundaries he never crossed. When Michael left the Waltons in 1979, the farewell was quietly devastating. Cast and crew gathered to say goodbye, but Ralph remained at a distance, watching her leave without stepping forward. It was his final act of restraint. They stayed in touch over the years, always careful, always respectful. When Ralph Waite passed away in 2014, Michael grieved privately, keeping a small photo of him close. For decades, she avoided answering the question of whether she loved him, knowing the truth was too layered for a simple response.